Record. I got stuff for you.
Holy moly. I need to get some snakes and release them around my house.
But they love eating people. They love eating kids.
These guys are the scientists of the supernatural, lecturers leaving lessons for inquiring laymen. They are applying the scientific method to a world that baffles science. They are the cryptids of the corn.
Every day that you open your mouth,
I know, right?
How much they would I'm more convinced that you're abducted by aliens.
No.
Watching to me.
And it just stood
I wonder how much
up.
they would take for them to actually sell that.
It just like kept going and going.
Not the whole rights.
And she goes, what
But me
the?
like,
These are idiots.
I was laughing reading this because I already knew how you would feel.
Idiot.
I mean, they
What
put a
part
lot
of the
work
story
into it. No, I know.
fits your balloon?
Well,
This isn't a UFO. But who else has big black wings and red eyes?
We just texted me the other
Batman.
day.
Well, Mothman.
Oh yeah, Mothman.
Well, everyone, I think we know exactly what it
That's a good
is.
sign.
So say it all with
They always
me.
do.
It was
Not all.
the Sandhill crane.
Would you try it?
No.
You wouldn't eat it?
No.
Why?
Because they're probably toxic. There'd be a lot of poop in my pants.
Yeah.
Seen a 6-foot alligator go swinging through the air and slam into a tree.
Cold open.
I'm ready.
Hello, and welcome back to Cryptids of the Corn podcast. I am the great and powerful Mystery.
And I'm JClone99.
And tonight, this evening, this morning, this afternoon, depending on where you are in this wonderful, wonderful blue orb,
Orb.
we're joined by an amazing guest. I'm going to kick it over to Jay
Yes.
to do the intro.
We are joined by a guest who is featured in a book by author Mike Quast called, what's it called right here? Sasquatch Central, High Strangeness in a Northern Minnesota Homestead. Now, I read this book about 2 years ago, and it fascinated me it just fascinated me because, we're getting into the Bigfoot stuff when we started this just like 3 years ago. And then once I read this book, my mind was blown and it opened up a lot of things. And the man featured in the book, it was centered all around his experiences and his property. He's a musician, a family man, and an outdoorsman. Everyone say hello and welcome Randy.
Woo!
Hello, you guys. Thanks for having me on your show.
Oh, it's an honor, Randy. It's an honor. I've heard so much about you. I cannot wait. But why don't you tell us a little bit more about yourself?
Okay, see, I knew I was going to be a musician when I was 8 years old. I started on an accordion. I wanted to be the next polka man.
Like Weird Al.
Yeah, at 16, I switched. And I play keyboards and sax.
Oh, you wanted like girlfriends and stuff?
Yeah, I did, but I didn't really get any.
Well, not with the accordion.
No. And see, I played a lot of national acts, like a lot of 60s acts. They'd fly me around like the Coasters and the Crests and Drifters, the Temptations, all those kind of acts. I'm still on the road. I've been on the road for 47 years. Never had a day job. It's always been music. And now I have a sound company where I also provide, like for a festival, the PA and the lights and all that for big acts, little acts, whatever I get booked. And I'm still doing it. And my great uncle was 90 years old, still played in a band. I'm going the same way, hopefully. And I'm 65.
Wow. That's awesome.
But, yeah. And I got a lot of energy, and it's natural. In fact, when I'm walking in the woods, I got people with me. I'm not racing, but they usually can't keep up with me. So I always constantly got to stop and wait for them. But anyways, all this started about 13 years ago. I'll just get right into it. I could never say Bigfoot existed. It didn't exist. I never gave it a thought. I never thought nothing about it. I heard about it, but it wasn't ever on my mind. And when I was younger at 12, Dad would put me in a deer stand back in the woods, and I sat dark till dark. I couldn't get out. In fact, they were the big meat hunters. If I would miss a deer, oh my God, you missed, they'd be mad. And I still hunt that same way. And I don't hunt in no fields. I'm back in the woods. I'm in my stand at 5 a.m. And I sit there dark to dark. No heat, none of that stuff. No roof or anything. I just build them out of the poplar trees, the platforms, and railings, put some camouflage burlap around them. And I can sit there in a chair. And I see a lot of deer that way, though, between 9 and 11 when people are going in wherever they're at that I don't know. And the reason I go in the stand so early, so I'm already settled in before anybody's even thinking about going out. And then the woods has settled down for me. But anyways, I'll always go out in the woods on the Monday morning after deer hunting's over, because I want to see where maybe I can see where the deer go during all this pressure of hunting. Maybe I can build another stand on the state land or on our land too. So the next morning, there's snow on the ground. I'm going back out there, and I get close to the deer stand I've been sitting in, and I come across this. There were 3 deer beds. You could see 2 deer and a deer laid down together. You can see where their bed was. They laid there overnight. Something killed them in their deer bed, all 3 deer, and left nothing but hair and some blood squirted on the trees. There wasn't a spine, a rib cage, legs, a hide or nothing. The hair had been plucked out. And I'm looking at it and I think, oh my God, a pack of wolves back here. And I don't have no gun or nothing. So I felt really uncomfortable. I took a picture of it, going to go home. I know now what happened, but back then I had this new iPhone. And I was going to show Terry the picture. Terry's my wife. And the picture wasn't there. And I thought, oh my God, I didn't save the picture. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't have the picture. And I'm thinking a pack of wolves. There's one thing that didn't dawn on me at the time. There was no tracks. There was no tracks of nothing. There was no tracks of wolves, cougar, or anything. I've seen cougar here before, not bobcat. Bobcat got a short dock tail. Cougar got a long tail. But that's what I thought, a pack of wolves. And we go on the road a lot, our band does. And we play Wyoming, Nevada, Arizona, the western states. And we'll do a little tour. Our agent from New York will book the band and we'll come back. And after that incident and what I thought was wolves, I was back there behind the house. We got a little deer food plot. It's about 1 acre. And I was telling Terry, there's no deer tracks back here. The weirdest thing. No deer tracks on the state land. My uncle owns the 80 acres that border the state land, so I can go through that whole thing. There's no fence, there's nothing. Now there is, because he sold it to the farmer, and the farmer put a 5-strand barbed wire fence around there. Called a wood pasture, what I call him. But he lets me cross there to go hunting. He doesn't care. Good guy. But anyways, I was telling him, there's no deer tracks back here. The weirdest thing. I'm thinking, God, we got a lot of wolves around here. So we go on the road, and that year there was snow so deep it was past your knees in the woods. So we come home. It was like in February, and it was going to be 40 below that night. I don't mean wind chill. I mean on the thermometer. So I took the snowmobile, and on the state land, there was old logging roads when they logged it a long time ago. I could ride around them. I rode around them because I still like walking the woods. And I knew my snowmobile track would freeze, and I could walk around them the next morning, and which I did. So I'm walking on them, and I start making my circle getting back home. It's probably a 3 or 4 mile walk that I did, Coming back home, I come across these tracks, and I'm looking at them, and they're, after it's all said and done, I measured them. They're 18 inches long. They were 6 to 7 feet between each step. But I'm looking at them. I kind of laughed to myself. God, is this Bigfoot, Sasquatch? And I'm laughing kind of a little bit. I go back home. I bring Terry out there. The band guys are still at our place. Bring them out there, and they're looking at them. And if a deer is jumping in deep snow like that there, every time it jumps between each step, you'll see the belly brushing the snow. There was never that. They were in a straight line. And here's one thing. I followed them out going south, and all of a sudden they ended. No more. Just done. But I followed them out going south, and I'll just say what it was. They crossed the river. And they stepped across the river, and I started following them as far as, but the snow, every step was past my knees. I just quit. Yeah. I didn't have no snowshoes or nothing. And I'm not thinking about Sasquatch, but I'm wondering, is this what this is? So I looked at Minnesota Sasquatch, and I come across this group called SRA, Sasquatch Research Association of Minnesota. And they used to be part of the BFRO and going around the country when people would have something. But they quit that and they started their own thing. So I was able to fill something out and send my pictures of the tracks in. And it wasn't even an hour. I get a call back from the head guy. He says, Randy, you got a squatch. Yeah.
That was fast.
This is how this all started. And maybe they've always been here, but I never give no thought, no Sasquatch. And at that time, he told me, you got to look for structures. You got them. X's that are not, there's no root base there, or teepees. And I have a lot.
Let's pause there for a second, because amazing already. I got questions and comments and all kinds of amazing things. So we're pausing at the structures.
Okay.
Just to help me remember when we come back into it. Do you have anything you want to say first?
I had a question about the deer. Oh yeah, the deer you found that you walked upon. Was it just one or was it multiple? I can't remember what you said.
It was 3 deer.
Okay.
Three deer beds right together. A bed, a bed, and a bed in a 3 or 4 foot span right together.
Okay, all together.
They killed overnight because it was by my deer stand. Overnight, I get out of my deer stand about 5 o'clock when it starts getting dark, but I got to walk almost 2 miles back to home, and I don't like really doing it with the flashlight. But no, I'm still not thinking Sasquatch. I do it all the time. Something killed 3 deer in their bed and left nothing but hair plucked out.
That's
no hide, no bones, no leg, no rib cage, no spine, no head, nothing but hair.
Wow.
Now that's not normal.
No.
Yeah, I want to talk about that. So I don't know if Jay told you what I used to do for a living at all.
I don't think I did.
So I was a field biologist. I worked with endangered species surveys, eDNA, and all that stuff. So when you're talking about this, and so the deer bed, the kill site, you had hair, plucked hair, like you said, no viscera, no tissues attached. Yep. And a little bit of blood?
Yeah, sprayed on the tree.
But not a ton, right? Just a little bit?
No, sprayed. Yeah. Like if did it something to the neck, sprayed out.
So
no blood on the ground. It was on the trees.
Right.
Trees. Yeah. Down low.
So to me, I mean, that tells you if it was one animal, you'd say big cat. Because what big cats will do is, like you said, mountain lion, they'll bite, hold on to the neck, and they'll kick their claws, and if they can't get to the soft tissue, it'll just kick fur out. If 3 deer, though, the whole bedding site doesn't make sense. So with wolves, it's not a wolf. I'll fight with anybody, argue with anybody about that. It's not wolves or coyotes. If anybody at home doesn't understand, I just want to say something to help to explain, maybe add a little information to what Randy's talking about. Canids, so we're talking wolves and coyotes, are very, very messy pack hunters.
Right.
So that by this, IDing kill sites of these guys is super easy.
Because
it looks like a serial killer went through. You're going to have they start eating before the animals are dead most of the time. So you're going to have organ, you're going to have a lot of blood. I mean, skin tissue. You're going to have chunks of skin ripped off because they're trying to get to the vital organs. They don't eat meat.
The stomach out.
Yeah, they want the stomach, the liver, the heart. Those are what they really want first. So they're going to rip everything else out to get to that first. So it just looks like a horror scene.
Right.
And so with wolves, I mean, you had multiple targets. Like you said, 3 deer. So when we start looking at Sasquatch, that tells you, I mean, how would you think 3 deer get killed by a Sasquatch at one time?
It had to be immediate. It would have to be like instantaneous.
3 Sasquatch.
Oh, okay. That or maybe 1 big one or 2 big ones.
Well, I mean, just to grab them. They'd have to grab and just hold them.
Right, yeah.
So, I mean, a deer's not just going to... you could talk about the infrasound angle of it.
Unless one snuck up on him and just jumped and squished one's head, then grabbed the other 2 and squished them. Yeah.
But infrasound, we know that tigers use infrasound to freeze antelope and other cousins of deer.
Right.
Sorry, Randy, we cut out.
Yeah, that's all right.
Tigers will actually use infrasound to freeze deer members of their family in Asia and Africa, or not Asia and Africa, Asia and China, and that, like China, Russia. So they'll actually produce a sound like we think Bigfoot does, and it freezes prey animals. So with you're talking about, this kill site, that could be something. It also sounds almost, when we did our cattle mutilation episode about the Uinta.
That's what I was gonna go into.
It sounds like the gravitational wells, like we talked about that with the cows exploding. And if you didn't see it, you wouldn't know there was a cow there because it was a mist of blood and hair. And it's a cow, right? It's it's not a rabbit, it can.
Because that's what I was thinking. It was more in line with was a mutilation kill more than a physical.
Mutilation.
Yeah, like Bigfoot, like physical,
which
animal
are connected
kill.
to Bigfoot. I mean,
absolutely, yeah.
I just wanted to add that. That was one of the comments I had. So, Randy, what do you think it was 3 Bigfoot? Do you think it was 1 Bigfoot? What do you think killed those 3 deer?
Okay, here's my thing. I don't usually give opinions. To me, opinions are guessing. So I don't know.
They're guessing.
Yeah, and
We're
there was
all
no
guessing.
track.
There is no such thing as a Bigfoot expert, we've said it 100 times. I've seen one. I don't know anything more than anybody else. I just have guesses.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, I've seen them 12 times. They've been seen 33 times at my place. And I know a lot about Sasquatch from what they've mind speak to me. But on the other hand, I don't know nothing about them.
Right.
That's how I'll put it.
I can't wait for the
I
mind
know a
speak
lot
thing.
from what I know, from what they've told me and all my experiences. But on the other side, I don't know nothing about them.
So that's what. Did you have anything else about the deer bodies?
I was just wanted to lean into the mutilation part of it.
Yeah, it really sounds like a mutilation.
Mm-hmm.
And
go ahead.
like back then, my mind was never on no Bigfoot stuff. I just thought it was wolves. I didn't
Right.
dawn on me there was
Nobody knows.
I didn't. Right. And last year I had 8 of them kills overnight. 8 of them. I have pictures. I did send you some of just the hair. There's so much hair it looks like sheep wool.
100%. And with your permission, we'll post some of those pictures when this episode comes out.
Post anything I send you because I'm an open book on this because I believe the truth needs to be told about these things.
Yes.
Because we'll get into that later. They are not some big old dumb ape hiding behind a tree and you don't see them.
I agree.
They are not that.
So
And I know I get really bold on how I'm talking, but somebody finally needs to come out and say what they really are.
You're not getting any arguments here, Randy.
Yeah. So anyways, so that happened. And okay, I seen those tracks and stuff, and then they told me to look for structures, which maybe they've always been there, and I never noticed them. But I have so many structures, it's crazy. A lot.
With the
A's, TPs, X's, V's.
With the structures, you sent tons of pictures of the structures, and some are.
I didn't even send you an 1/8 of them.
I believe it. I believe it.
I didn't want to overwhelm your computer with pictures. I just send you some of them.
Some of them are very, very complex. I just want to say that for all the listeners at home, and I'll post those pictures. Some of them are very complex because we talk. Rick Rellis, a buddy of ours, has a little booklet he produces about Sasquatch tree structures, and just kind of showing people what to look for. Because not every stick leaning against another stick in the woods is a tree structure.
It's not.
And
you're exactly right.
You sent some really good pictures to show some of the complex workings of some of these structures, and that's just one thing I wanted to say is that. I think you and Rick would agree on those, like very similar takes. Rick put some pictures in his book from his sites down south that look very similar to some of your sites you have. So that's another thing across the board. Similarities with these structures.
As long as we're talking about structures, I'm going to go way ahead.
You go ahead
into this year. I'll go back and forth, but as long as we're on structures, I've always told people. Well, I've been hunting in the woods since I'm 12 years old, and I'm 65 now. I have never seen sticks fly through the air and land in an X, a TP, a V, an A. I've never seen that. Yeah, trees do blow down, brush blows down, sticks break off a tree, and they land and whatever. This year, I've seen them make a structure, and what I'm going to say to you is going to be the craziest thing, but the truth is the truth. I've seen them make a structure in front of my eyes. I watch them do it. Because I've been saying I've never seen that happen. So I'm doing my gifting thing like I do every day. And we'll get into that too. And I'm walking to go to my next little site where I got my little trinkets, my little dice and Rubik's Cube and stuff. And all of a sudden I hear a tree crack. I look up, I see a tree being pushed over. There's no wind and no storm. It's a fresh popple tree about that big around. I see it blow over. I see another stick about that big around like that, lift off the ground and go in to make an X. I see another one come over here from the east side and go through the 2 trees and make a V. I see another one come down like this here as a Y stick. I watched it happen right in front of my eyes. I'm only 10 feet from it.
So it made like a double X structure, kind of?
Double X, V, and a Y. And it's still there. Guess what? There was no body that I seen doing it. I've seen the stick being picked up the ground from the south side of that bigger tree. I've seen one from the east side picked up to go in there to make a V go through 2 trees. They all are together intertwined. I watch it happen. I'm standing there and I say, man, you guys, that's a really good one. Now I finally see how you do it.
That's amazing. That's amazing. I'm kind of lost for words.
I think that would be the first account, anyone
100%.
ever witnessing it
100%.
that I know of.
We've talked to, it's doing on horn. We're pretty good friends with many, many, many large Bigfoot researchers.
Mm-hmm.
I've never heard of this.
Nope.
Like as far as somebody watching it, and Randy, just so you know, I believe you. Jay holds you in very, very high regards, and that's why I'm taking this very seriously, because it's probably the first time somebody's actually witnessed, and it got to report it.
Right, yeah.
Got to come out and talk about seeing one of these structures get made. And like I said, everybody at home, they're very complex. These aren't the 4 or 5 sticks that are pulled together by snow melt. Wisconsin, Minnesota, Ohio, Michigan. We have a lot of that where snow builds up, and these aren't that. Some of these are very, and not saying that the other ones aren't made by Bigfoot, but there's a varying degree of complexity with these things. That's amazing. Do you think it was? And like I said, you don't give opinions, and opinions, or what do we always say? Opinions like buttholes.
Well, I'll give some, a little bit. I'll give some.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you feel that was actually the Sasquatch making them? Or
yes.
do you feel... Okay, well.
Yes. There's a reason. We'll get into it later, but I'll give a little touch on it right now. There's a reason why I'm getting so much interaction with them, and they're interacting with me, coming to the house, hitting the house, doing things, and I'll get into that, because they trust me. I have told them I'm not trying to get evidence off you. I just want to interact with you, and they are doing that back with me. And that is why, because I'm not trying to get evidence for the world. And did I used to? You're damn right I did. I had 360 cameras. I had cameras all over. They asked me not to give out cameras anymore. Don't do cameras on this 40 acres. But that's down the line. I'll talk about how.
Do you have a cousin named TJ?
What?
Do you have a cousin named TJ?
Nope.
All right. Well, I'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I got so much going on. I made a little thing here. So
there we go. Let's hop back to the original. You started the group you were working with, or you reported your sighting to, asked about the tree structures on your property.
The SRA told me what to look for.
Yes.
The head guy.
Yes. So let's.
And he's not there no more. He moved to Montana, so he's kind of out of it. In fact, the SRA, it's kind of, nobody's really taking care of it anymore. They get together and do this or that, but there's nobody really ahead of it. They're not so active anymore.
I mean, that sounds like things around here.
Yeah, it absolutely does.
No, so go ahead and start talking about that again. When you started, they told you what to look for, and you started finding these things.
Yes. Okay. I started finding them, and I have a lot of them. And then, how did this go? They told me, the SRA said, Randy, you don't want to gift them, or you don't want to feed them, because if you do that and you stop doing it, it's going to be bad for you.
Yes.
Well, that's not true. It's not true here anyways. No,
okay.
Not true at all.
Well, you have much more respectful Bigfoot than Ohio.
Yeah. Well, here's how I started doing the feeding thing. Back then, like 12 years ago, I could take the little four-wheeler. I have the old thing I got, and I could drive all the way back there. Now there's that damn fence there. And if I had asked him, he'd let me open his gate. But I don't talk to the neighbors about Bigfoot around here. And there's nobody going out in the woods and saying, I'm going to make an X or a V and see if Randy finds it. That's not happening. On that state land back there, it's kind of landlocked by older farmers. Nobody goes back there. It's just me.
Mm-hmm.
So, and they don't go back there. And the ones that do hunt, they hunt in the fence line. They don't even go in the woods. They got these big heated deer stands that they made with windows in it and all that. And they don't go in the woods where I go. In fact, I go in so early, I'm in the stand at 4:30 before they even know I'm there, because I don't want them seeing me. The reason why, I don't need to ruin their hunting, because they're on the line and I got to go past the stand.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But anyways, here's how I did it. I brought my four-wheeler. I brought 6 apples cut in half, so I had 12 pieces. I brought this old aluminum ladder so that the popple trees are soft bark. So I put the ladder up so I could go out and reach out to a branch where if a bear climbed up the tree, I'd see the scratches. A raccoon, I'd see the scratches. A deer couldn't reach them. And I had to go back there every day. They were gone. Every day, those halves, 12 halves, every day. After about 2 weeks of doing that, I decided there's a deer stand high up that they put, but it's not heated or nothing. It's about 15 feet up. Somebody made it out in the trees, in like 3 trees, and they made steps up it in the platform. It's kind of rickety, but I thought, I'm going to sit in that thing. Maybe I can see something. So I'm sitting there, and this is in the summer, about 7:30 or 8 o'clock. I seen my first Sasquatch. It was the black one. It was big. And I thought, oh my God, it's real. I said to myself, them things are real. That's the first time I seen it. It crossed over from one edge of the woods, the little trail. I could ride my four-wheeler down. to the next woods where the apples were at. I didn't even want to move. I didn't want to get out of my stand because I'm thinking it's some big old animal, that hasn't been discovered yet. I only seen the side view of it, like it come out of the woods, trail into the woods. So I sat there for a while. I didn't even want to get down, but I'm glad I had the 4-wheeler so I could get down and get out of there. The next day, I decided I'm going to walk back there. And as I'm walking on that same trail to go to where the apples are at, there was a new popple about that big around across the trail. But it had an oily, big handprint about that wide across it where they laid it there. And I just looked at it, saying to myself, God, there's an oily handprint on this thing. This wasn't there yesterday. So I thought I would take it. So I picked it up and moved it to the side of the trail. Went to where my apples were instead of just looking around. And that's where I found, I call it the original teepee. There's a big teepee there. That's where I always bring everybody back to look at it. It's immense. This spring, they added more to it. Okay, we'll get back to that stick.
Mm-hmm.
I had laid it down on the side of the trail. I was going to pick it up on the way back home. I come back and the stick is gone. It's not there. They took it.
Yeah.
They took it from me. Yeah.
They knew you were going to take it back.
They knew I was going to take it. Yeah, They knew. So after all that, I got a deer stand in the woods before you get to that spot. And I started gifting in another spot. And there's an A. It's a perfect A like this here. It looks like something right out of the Blair Witch Project or something. Scary looking. And it's not there now. They took it down. And one day last year, I thought, I'm going to put that back up again. I'll try to make it. I couldn't make it. I don't know how they did it. I couldn't make it. And I don't make structures, but I thought I'd try to make that one.
Mm-hmm.
But on I call it my original gifting area, my peanut butter would always be gone. And I had little trinkets there. And a lot of that stuff wasn't moved. I had a stuffed animal there, a kid's rubber bracelet, a little thing about that wide, a little green flashlight, put one AAA battery in it, about like that, and some rocks in a circle. For a whole year, that stuff wasn't moved. I think they got mad at me. Me and Terry, I got a lot of friends in DuBois, Wyoming, which is close to Jackson Hole in the Wind River Mountains. I like being in the mountains a lot, not tourist mountains, the real deal. And I always wanted to work for an elk hunting guide. So a friend of mine said, yeah, they needed somebody. So they hired me and Terry. Terry was the camp cook. I was one got the firewood, fed the horses and all that stuff. But it was a 7-hour horseback ride into the base camp. The base camp was 9,600 feet up. It was high up there. So we had a little teeny tent. Then there was a cook tent and the guide's tent and the guest tent. So we were the first couple he ever hired, but we stayed there for 40 days. We never came out one time. He had never had that either. But every Sunday, the guys would hunt for a week. And then on Sunday, they'd take the guests out, bring them back. They'd come back in maybe Tuesday for another bunch of group. And when we got done with all that deal, well, anyway, the doctor said I had physical induced asthma. I said, no, I don't. I didn't even use that stupid sprayer thing. I didn't think it worked. When I was up there, I must have had it. It was in a place you couldn't even have electric toothbrush, chainsaw, or nothing. They were running out of firewood, so me and the horse wrangler had to take a 2-man crosscut saw and cut trees down. I couldn't hardly do it. I could do 3 or 4 of them like that there, and I was done for my breath. It was tough. So I experienced it one time. I don't need to do it again. But anyways, when we got home, by that deer stand and where that stuffed animal and stuff was, there was a deer scrape there. And you know what I mean by being wild, okay? When a buck is laying his car down for breeding, it does a scrape and rubs his glands on a tree coming down, orbital glands, I believe it's calling card. And I thought, oh my God, this is a big scrape. And my deer stand's right there. I'm going to put a camera right here so I can see what buck is coming in here. And I said, I always say you guys, whether they're male or female, I'm going to put a camera here. It's not for you guys to see what deer's coming here. I had never hunted in that stand. It's been there a long time. I just never hunted there. I usually always hunt at my brother-in-law's place. And then after that, I hunt behind the house. But anyways, I put the camera there. I waited a couple of days. I go back there. They must have got mad at me because the stuffed animal, which had been there a year, was thrown out of the little rock circle about 20 yards away. The rubber bracelet was broken half. The flashlight was broken half.
Mm.
And I'm looking around, and I find a juvenile track. I didn't have no casting and stuff, so I go back home, get some. I come back there. I get the most awfulest scream at me. I got 3 screams at me. So I'm just assuming they must have got mad at me. So I got that casting, but it ain't a great one. So I had that there. Now let's get into my gifting area now.
Yeah.
I do it behind the house here. Last year I went through 300 jars of peanut butter and 30 bags of apples.
Oh man.
Yeah. Here's what they do. I got 4 nails in a tree. I take the lid off, take the paper off, put the lid back on. I put the jar in the 2 nails, so it's kind of, it's like this here, balanced in there. I have a pile of rocks by that. I have maybe 10 feet away, I got some little kids' blocks, little wooden blocks about like that. And then I got an eraser board with some little marbles on it. It's the kind that are flat. You might get them at Walmart. You put them in a cup in the bathroom and they're fancy looking. And then maybe 10, 15 yards away from that, I got, they sat in one of my kitchen chairs and they busted it, the board. So the board's on the ground now. And I got some dice, a Rubik's Cube, 2 popsicle sticks, and some other sticks. Okay, I'll do my peanut butter, put my apples in some bushes, just stick them on a bush, like 4 apples. Then I'll put the rocks in arrangement. I do that the same with the wooden blocks. Oh, and I got 6 or 7 pre-cut weed eater lines. They're about that long, but they're pre-cut and they're red. They go in a weed eater.
Mm-hmm.
I'll put them in arrangement. I'll do that same with the dice and the Rubik's Cube, and I'll take a picture of that. And then I'll go back the next day, and if it's moved, which they always are, moved different how I put it, I'll take a picture of that and a video of that, and I'll say, man, you guys really move this stuff good. And then I'll move it again. It's moved every day. Every day I go out there, it's moved. Sometimes it's really moved intricate where it takes fingers and thumbs to do that. Sometimes a Rubik's Cube is twisted and it's cockeyed like this. Sometimes the dice is put at 666, pulled away, 3 6s. If I put the wooden blocks in a Jesus cross, as I'm calling it, or 2 Jesus cross, it ain't just moved. It's like they took their hand, went, it's just destroyed. Now with the peanut butter, they take the cap off. They lay the cap down by the tree, and whatever color the cap is, the caps are together. Reds are together, blues are together, yellows, browns, greens, whatever. And I don't do that. They're doing that. And they take the jar and the jar is gone. I don't find the jar. But sometimes they bring the jar back and they put it in the branch of a tree or upside down on bushes like this. It looks like it went through a dishwasher. It is perfect. Now, yes, bear do get the peanut butter sometimes, so do raccoons. When a bear gets the peanut butter, the jar is destroyed. Right,
yeah, they're going to eat the jar.
That cap is all chewed up and broken in half. Raccoons, they chew a hole like that in the bottom of the peanut butter jar, and they're licking it. Sasquatch is not standing there licking a jar. They're not doing that at all. And they gift me. I've got 44 deer skulls they've given me. I got 8-point bucks, 6-pointers, spike bucks, fawns, does, beaver skull, horse skull. I have all that. Now I know they're giving it to me. For one thing, nobody's leaving an 8-point buck out in the woods and just a skull. Nobody's doing that.
No.
No,
if
that's
they
the
shoot a deer or
trophy.
a buck, they're probably dressing it out, taking the guts out and all
what
that.
they want,
dragging it back to their house and hanging it. And I know they're giving it to me because there'll be a skull on my steps. There'll be a skull on my deer stand. Well, the skull ain't walking by itself.
Right.
I'll go in the state line, go down the trail. I'll decide to come back the same way, and there's a skull laying there. They give me lots of Y sticks. The same thing. There'll be a Y stick on my steps, on my deer stand. It didn't blow there from the wind. Some of them are big, some of them are little. They're perfect, symmetrical.
So explain what a Y stick is.
What?
Explain.
A Y stick is a hold on a second. I'll get one. I got some in the house.
Perfect.
Oh, perfect.
Go ahead.
You guys talk and I'll go get a couple.
Okay.
That way, just as you guys at home can understand a little bit more. And I got a whole big list of things that we'll probably pause in here for a second.
Did you write down, was it 44 deer skulls? My goodness.
That's a lot.
You think?
Yeah, I mean, it really is.
Beaver skulls, horse skulls. And he hasn't said it yet, but he did tell me off air before. These skulls come back pristine.
I have it written
Like
down.
they are clean.
I want to ask him about that.
They're not chewed on. Yeah, which is
So rodents will immediately eat any bone and antler available.
right. Yeah,
When we go out shed hunting, they'll just so he's got
Randy's back.
Randy's back with a Y stick.
I got a lot of these. I just brought a couple of. That's a Y stick.
So they're pretty much symmetrical. So it is like a lowercase y, or is it uppercase? It's
Uppercase,
Y.
yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Not you and your letters.
Nope.
Not your. No.
An uppercase
See
Y.
this one here?
Yeah.
This one was given to me 2 days ago.
Wow, fresh.
So High River Valley, they
I'm
call
gonna-
those fishing sticks.
I'm going to tell you how they give it to me. We got enough snow right now. I can ride around the trails back in the woods here. And I rode one of the trails to go to my gifting area. I go to my gifting area. What you're not taking the peanut butter right now or moving my stuff. They're not here right now, but they can listen to me and don't have to be here in physical form.
Mm-hmm.
As I'm back there talking, and I'll tell you about the talking thing. But do I feel foolish talking in the woods to a tree? Yeah, I do, but it's working. So
Right,
I'm
yields
back there,
results.
and now remember, I went down the trail on the Snowmobile Trail. On the other day, it was 5 below here, so the snow was frozen. Where I did drive my snowmobile, it's frozen, and this little thing is light.
Right.
Okay, so I go and talk to them, do my gifting thing, which I'm not doing nothing. I'm just looking, and I say, you know what, you guys, can I get another Y stick? I haven't had one for a while. Can you give me one? And that's all I say. I mess around and talk a little bit. I just ramble on back there. So when I get done with all that, I go get on my snowmobile. I go back the same way. And the middle of my trail where I just came from, this was poked in the snow, standing up just like this.
Boom.
Now, that's no coincidence because I
No.
just rode on that trail.
Right. You'd have ran it over.
I mean,
I would have ran it over, right? It wasn't there. And it was there.
that's
Within the 10 minutes that I said that.
not that people
and no
have,
tracks.
not that people have talked to them about it, but how many times have we heard that
What's
with
that?
Bigfoot encounters?
You had
You going in a trail, 10, 15 minutes coming back, and there's something completely out of the place in the middle.
right. Yep.
I think that's and you have it much more specific and dialed in because of your relationship with the group you have. But for people like Salt Fork, has that happen a bunch? That's a place here in Ohio that has
Big state park.
It has a high level of activity.
Mhm.
And people will explain it like, I come back in the middle and there's like a red baseball cap
Mhm.
right in the middle of the trail. I was just here. There's nobody else out here. And, that
Yeah.
kind of stuff. So I just found that interesting that, it's, you have it much more developed because, like I already said, your relationship with them, but these common threads across Bigfoot from all over the country. I just wanted to make a note of that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, my deer skulls are perfect. I mean, some of them are old and they got moss on them, but that's probably from setting out in my snowmobile trailer. I used to have them in the yard in the line, but wife Terry, she got sick of looking at them, so I had to move them. So I got them around the corner on the power line on a trailer. But anyways, they are not chewed on. All the antlers are perfect condition. Now, that's weird.
Very.
But it isn't weird when I tell you what it is. When a deer in like February in Minnesota drop their antlers, porcupines,
Mhm.
squirrels, they eat them because it's minerals for them and protein. They eat the things. And I didn't even find a deer shed this year. And I'm looking, I didn't find one. I didn't find one last year. But anyways, this year in the spring, I did my gifting and stuff. And I say, you know what, you guys, I'm going to go see if I can find a deer shed. I'm not thinking of my skulls or nothing like that. So I'm walking back home through the woods instead of going on the power line. All of a sudden, I get stopped dead in my tracks. It come into my mind so clear, and I never had a mind speak thing that clear. I said, oh my God, thanks. Now I know. Because I used to say to people, why are they hunters that know? Well, they're not chewed on or nothing, not even mice chewing on. Why is that? And we used to say, well, probably because Sasquatch got their smell on them and nothing will touch them. That is wrong. The reason they're in perfect condition, because they were brought to me as a gift from wherever they can go that we don't know how to go.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they told me. And that makes sense. Nothing else makes sense.
Right. So the skulls are from where they're
They're
where they
holding
can
them
go.
there. Like
Right.
he was saying earlier, after they're taking a deer,
Yeah.
they're like taking it home.
Which is that other...
The other, I guess I have it listed as a pocket, like just for everybody at home. Pocket dimension, side dimension, whatever, alternative dimension, other place, Feywilds, I don't know. But not here.
They're interdimensional.
Yeah, not here.
Right.
They're taking a deer from here, taking it back, not for here.
And then bringing it back.
So that's why animals aren't. And when you were getting the Y6, we talked about it. When we shed hunt here in Ohio,
Yep.
I have watched a deer. My brother has watched a deer on trail camera drop them. We've gone out there within the hour and had squirrel marks all up.
Yeah, exactly right. Yep.
All up and down the antler. So especially
And
when
mice too.
Mice are horrible.
Yeah, mice they're real terrible with it.
So
yeah.
I mean, think
Mine
about the
are
time of
still
year.
perfect.
Like you said, February, March. I mean, that's when nutrients are very, very hard got.
Right.
So you're going to take everything.
Do you think there's any chance that these skulls might have some like background radiation?
Why don't we
them?
talk with Randy about that after?
Okay.
Because I have a thing for that, maybe.
Okay.
Because I am curious. So I mean, we can talk about it now. It's not that big a deal. For something we're gonna ask Randy later.
Okay.
I'm curious, and if whenever we meet in person, I would like you to bring a couple of them. A couple skulls, and I would like to test them for. I'll get the meter for background radiation and magnetism.
Mm-hmm.
So we have a theory that when you're coming in and out of these portals, that you're dragging not a dangerous level for most of the time, but like double or triple background radiation levels. And I'm just curious if, like Jay just said, if some of these deer skulls you're getting maybe have it, and they don't have to. They're bone,
right? Yeah, they might not carry it.
They may not, and they may, depending on how old they are, they may have already filtered out of them. But
because even they're sitting on a single snowmobile trailer out on the power line around my yard. There's still nothing chewed on them. Nothing.
And do they look? And that would be, that could be radiation too.
Yeah.
At this point, coming back through that, we're not as sensitive to radiation, but a lot of animals are, and you don't really want to eat chunks of radioactive material,
right?
And Jay has told me, but I just want you to tell the listeners how clean are they? Do they look like they're boiled, like what we would do for a deer skull?
Yeah, they're clean like that, but now they've been sitting there so long, except the one that they gave me this year that they're getting moss on.
Right.
Yeah.
From you having them,
but initially,
when they're gifted,
they're clean. When I get them, they're totally clean. There's nothing on them. Totally clean. Yeah, like they've been boiled. Yes.
Amazing.
Yeah. So it's a very difficult job to get a skull white. For everybody at home. We've done it many times. It's the grossest thing I've probably ever done.
I remember
outside of work.
Oh gosh, I remember when I accidentally opened my friend's beetle chest. He has those beetles that eats all the flesh off the skull.
Yeah, yuck. That's sticky too.
Oh, I know. And I opened it by accident. He didn't tell me what was in there.
We used to boil it with water and hydrogen peroxide.
Ooh, okay, that smelled good.
Oh, it smelled like Christmas dinner. If you live near Chernobyl,
or I was gonna say hell.
It did smell. So, Randy, I got a lot of questions.
Yep, and I got a lot to tell you. We got 2 days because I can go over 2 days and not repeat.
We're good. We're gonna keep going. We're gonna keep going. But if you got a second, I got a whole list of stuff I'd like to.
You ask as many questions as you want.
Okay, I want to go all the way back to the stick structures that you were seeing and stuff like that. And this may be something we can compare to later. But have you ever heard of something like it? There's several different names for it. Me and Jay were talking about it off air. Spatial geometry, special geometry, and then one of the hot words is oh gosh, I just forgot it.
What, the golden ratio?
No, oh my gosh, sacred geometry.
Sacred geometry. There you go.
So, have you really ever looked into any of those things?
No, never have.
So I kind of wonder if some of your stick structures may be containing to some of these things. So special, spatial, and sacred geometries are different, the same. I don't know. I'm not.
It's hard. It's
hard at this point. But basically, these are core fundamental mathematical equations that form shapes that appear in nature from cells, like CELL, to SHELL, shells, to stars. It's the hidden code behind the universe, and you see it imprinted everywhere. And I'm kind of wondering if some of your very, very geometric stick structures fall into some of those where they are, kind of, especially with the way you said one made. So when I asked you about that earlier, where do you think they're making them? The second part of my question was going to be, or do you think it's a byproduct of them coming through? So with this, people think that this is the code source. So like you said, you've seen it form, right? Mm-hmm. So if that's one of these, the portals or the doors opening, that may be the door actually opening. It may have a physical imprintation on matter, even though you can't see the rest of it happening, as everybody at home knows. But most of the light spectrum is invisible to us. We see about 6% of visible light, so there could have been a whole bunch more happening right in front of you. What I was
seeing, yeah,
you'd have never known because you physically can't see it. So I don't know. That may be something we could talk about at a different date after you get some time to look into it. But when you were talking,
I do know what the X's mean.
I'm excited. What do they mean?
Yeah,
that's a boundary marker, but it's not for humans. It's for other things out there that we don't see, that we don't know about.
Okay,
all that.
I'm adding that to the list.
I don't know, but it's not for humans. And then they put X's in my yard a lot. They put them on the ground flat.
Do you think they're protecting you from other things?
They're protecting us. Yes.
I do think they have favorites.
Put them right by the steps. This summer I had 4 X's. They did it, I don't know what you call it, like it about that long, and it's yellow, like yellow reed grass or swamp grass or whatever you want to call it, like straw. We don't have no straw here. There's nobody baling straw close to me. And they move it. Sometimes it looks like a glyph, like this here, this, and this. And there'll be one like this. Then they'll change it, and it's like this, and this. And it'll be right by our steps. So when that happens, I don't let nobody walk there. We don't mow that little spot or use.
Just leave it be. Leave it be.
Just leave it.
If they are protecting you for something, leave it be.
We just leave it be. Now, last year they did it right by, to the north of our house, right in the yard. I mowed around it all summer, left it be. Now, just the other day before we had snow, they put an X just like this. It's brown, about that big around. It's perfect X.
Do you have anything about any of that before I move on to my next question?
I think it's awesome. The sigils, though, when you said that.
The glyphs and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's very interesting. I never thought of that.
Some of those have sacred geometry.
Absolutely, yeah.
And now, one of the trails east of the house, and there's a perfect X. They just put it there during deer season. Deer season started November 9th. It was probably November 12th that I noticed it. And I'm doing something different. I want to get to the next level with them more than anybody's ever gotten. And maybe I never will, but I'm not taking a picture of that stuff. So I'm trying something different now.
I don't think you can. I don't think you can take a picture and get to the next level. I don't think they'll allow you.
Yeah. So that I'm not taking pictures now,
right,
of structures, new structures I see and all that. I'm just talking to them and I just say, hey man, that's a good structure you just made there. And I didn't take a picture of it. And it is a perfect one. I sure would like to show it to you. It's right across the whole trail. I can't even drive my.
We're going to have to make it up there, just so you know. We'll have to make a special trip for this next year.
Yeah, it's a really good one. It is perfect. It is tall, maybe 15 feet tall, but it's only about that big around.
Oh, wow.
Of the sticks they use.
Yeah.
And it's like this, perfect. And it's right in the middle of the trail. The trail is wide enough to ride us side by side down, a little bit wider than that. And yeah, and I got a lot of more things to tell you with the interactions I had, but let me.
Wait, okay, let me keep going. I got questions for you still.
Okay, you want me to go or you want to go?
Let me go, because once you get ripping again, I'm going to fill up a bigger list.
Okay.
I'm trying to keep my list to the. But no, so the oily handprint. This a while ago. The oily handprint. What? Because you've heard this described by other people. What, like, when you say oily, what do you mean?
It'd be like if I took baby oil and rubbed it across the stick.
Oh, wow.
Oily like that.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So or if I had it on my hand and I
grabbed it.
And I grabbed it like that there and I went like that there. You'd see my hand imprint and oily like.
Okay. And
it wasn't dripping off there. It wasn't dripping, but it made an impression of like an oily hand.
Right.
Hand.
Yeah.
That's what I mean.
And then the teepee structure.
Yep.
How do you? So when you're saying teepee, I'm imagining the sticks stacked up on a main tree or something like that, wrapped around
like
it.
This, stick here, stick over here, and you can get inside it.
You
That's what
can
I'm
get
calling
inside it.
teepee.
That's what I was going to ask.
Yeah, some of mine are really little. I mean, maybe only 3 feet tall, maybe 4 feet tall. Come up to about right here.
Now, do
Some are
you
bigger.
think they are for cover or for hiding, or do you think they're?
They can't be for hiding. No,
Right. They don't no need to, right?
Well, that's what I was wondering. I
Yeah.
didn't know if it was for babies. Maybe they can't jump as easily.
Yeah, I don't
That
know.
is what you know who the she squatchers are?
Yeah.
Yeah, the girls there. Well, they think it's to put the young ones in.
I don't know. So here in Ohio,
I don't know.
We have what we believe is a breeding area, and they have grass nests, but they're not the big dome things you see on TV. They're like tunnels that you can army crawl through. But when you're laying in them, people can walk right beside you and never know you're there. So one of the thoughts with that area is that may be for the offspring, very young ones, to hide in while mom and dad are off hopping dimensions or hunting or doing whatever. And
I don't know about that because they don't live on our earth as we know it. They don't live here, and they told me that.
And so with sperm whales, you're going to get a whale fact for the day. With sperm whales, they live in the crushing depths. I mean, they're hyper evolved to dive the deepest, hunt giant animals. Their babies can't do it. So their babies stay within 30 feet of the surface, and through echolocation and talking, they just follow their pod that is up to 3 miles below them, stay at the surface. So I don't know. To me, I almost feel something like that they can jump, or they are, interdimensional using. But I guess it depends on which dimension are they from. Are they from here and evolved to use that dimension, or vice versa? I mean, sea turtles. We've talked about sea turtles many times. That ocean animals, they still have to come onto land to breed.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It just is one of those things that was sticking out to me. But
I had a weird.
Okay, let me go way ahead.
Yeah.
This year, I'm back in my gifting area, and I'm saying, would you guys? And I always say, you guys, whether male or female, I just say, would you guys tell me what you are, what's going on here? I really want to know. I said, there's too many people that are saying this and that. I really like to know.
Mm-hmm.
So I do my thing there, and I start leaving, and I decide to go through the woods to get to the house instead of the power line corridor, which we live by. And I get almost to the house there, and all of a sudden I get stopped. I have another mind speak. It is really clear. And this is what it is. It said, we do not bury our dead on earth. We do not go south for the winter. We do not live in caves. We do not go to the swamp in Minnesota when it's 40 below out. We do not live on your earth. We come here because we like to come here. We are flesh and blood in the physical form when we're here, but we're metaphysical, interdimensional. That is what they are, and that makes sense. That's why for hundreds of years, maybe 1,000 years, they never really have any proof because they never will. Nobody's going to ever shoot one. That's all BS because they're not that. Now, the reason why I'm getting so much, because I've told them I'm not trying to get evidence off you for the world. I won't do cameras. They asked me not to do cameras. Doug Hychek from the History Channel, Monster Quest, he asked me one day, we're friends. He said, Randy, can you put a camera out at your gifting area and just say this? Can we get a picture of you? And it'll only be for me, Randy, and for Doug. We will not share it with nobody. But then I said, if you never, ever want cameras here again, you got to give me some kind of sign that I can see, that I will recognize. The next day I go back there. The SD card is wiped clean when I get back to the house. Batteries are drained dry. The camera's twisted. And there's a 15-foot Y stick like that laying right on my camera. There was no storm. So I took that as a sign.
That's pretty clear.
I haven't done cameras since.
That's pretty clear.
And when I stopped doing cameras, when I stopped carrying a rifle, when I said, I'm not trying to give evidence off you and I won't, my activity ramped up big time. Big time. That's when it happened. The only evidence will be for the world is when people, they don't have to do exactly what I'm doing, but do kind of what I'm doing and not try to get evidence off them. Don't go out in the woods and knocking on a tree because they're not knocking on a tree. don't do the whooping, don't do all that stuff because they're trying to get evidence off them. Don't do any of that stuff, and you'll get individual evidence. Enough people get individual evidence. Well, that will be evidence for the world.
Absolutely.
I've said this many times.
That is true.
Mm-hmm.
No, I've said many times that like I said, I seen one when I was 16. I'm good. I know they're real. Like, I'm done. I'm happy. I never have to see another one in my life. If it happens, it happens. I'm not looking for that though. And
Right.
some of the people I think that have the most activity are describing what you're describing, what you have done. Maybe not to the same, like you said, not the same exact thing, but
Exactly, not the same exact thing. And it took me a long time to get to this point. And not just, you just can't go out there and say, I'm not trying to get evidence off you because they'll know you're lying.
Yeah.
Or
It's got to be genuine.
It's got to be genuine. And it took me a while to get to that. But okay, a long time ago, the SRA head guy said, Randy, you got to stop carrying a rifle. Because I used to carry a rifle with me because I thought they were some big old animal and I didn't know any better. And he said, you got to talk to him. I said, talk to him. Talk in the woods. Just talk. I said, well, I'm not doing that. He said, yeah, you got to do that. He said, it'd be like me walking in your house unannounced. You're going to wonder who's coming in my house. So one day I did that. I quit carrying the rifle and I felt uncomfortable, but I did it. I'm back in the cedar swamp area, back in some state land behind the house. And I would say, hey, this is Randy. I'm just looking at your stuff. I'm harmless. I want to learn about you. And he said, wear a GoPro camera. I said, I don't have one. Take your phone, go like this once in a while. Take a picture. They'll look at you from behind.
Carpenter method, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I did that a lot. And when I get home, there's nobody home or nothing. I'm looking at my pictures. Oh my God, I got 3 Sasquatches. I'm looking at them. I'm excited. All of a sudden, wham, hit the house. And I think, oh my God, there's somebody at the door. So I get up, start walking towards the door. And in a female voice, it goes, Randy, says my name. I said, oh my God, there is somebody at the door. I go to the door and there's nobody there. And we live in the country. Nobody, kid can come up and there's no kids around here. Hit the house and run and hide.
Right.
I would see it.
And yelling your name.
And yell my name in a female voice.
Yeah.
So I look around and there's a big oily handprint on the side of the house where they hit. And now they hit there all the time. They leave big old long finger streaks.
So is that just a spot that they're just letting you know, hey, we're here, or hey, you know, checking in on you? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, they're letting me know they're here and they're giving me some. But here's the weirdest thing. You guys know Raven Hawk?
No.
From Idaho. She's a native lady there. She has a lot of experience with them too. On my phone, I never put somebody else's pictures on my phone. Ever in my life do I do that. That was her pictures. That was her Sasquatch on my phone that I seen that day.
Okay.
I looked her up last year and we had a good 2-hour talk on the phone. She has never sent that picture out. That's a private one for her. We both were flabbergasted by that. And sometimes I want to show somebody it and her name's signed on it. I can't find it. It's not there. Then when I don't want to show somebody it, it's there. The weirdest thing.
Wow.
I know. I can't explain it.
I mean, Idaho, you guys are right next to each other, right?
What's that?
Idaho and him is right next to each other, right?
Oh, sure, yeah.
Only like
After
4,000 miles.
Yeah. Well, you know, interdimensionally it is.
I mean, interdimensional, you know.
That's nuts. I mean, I've heard countless times of pictures disappearing off people's phones.
Oh my God, all the time.
I mean,
the SRA was getting worried about our place with all the stuff going on here.
Yeah.
No, I'm not scared of them whatsoever, but they were getting worried. So they bought me as a gift some security cameras for the house. So this is a weird one. Did I send you the picture of the dog?
Nope. Didn't get that one.
Of the dog forming?
No, I didn't know.
Is that the one in the book?
It's in the book, but I got the real one.
The real
you can
one.
see it a lot better, yes.
Okay.
Anyways, I had it in the bedroom window and it would go right to my email, you know, if something happened. And the only way that sets off is something moves. And in the morning, about 9 in the morning, my phone goes off. I said, oh my God, Terry, there's a dog here. I can see its face, but I can see the body and I can see through it. It's like it's forming. I get ready and I go like this to hand her the phone. She's in the kitchen. It goes off again. I look at it. Oh my God, Terry, we got a Sasquatch on here. It's huge. I get ready to hand her the phone. The phone goes dead. I said, oh my God, the phone went dead. I go plug it in. It pops on 75% charged.
Mhm.
That Sasquatch is not there. It's gone. And it's not even on the camera that took the picture. The security camera was raced off there too.
So
just like that.
You got the picture. The dog picture survived though.
Yep, the dog picture survived.
Okay. Just making sure I'm understanding everything right. And the Sasquatch picture did not.
It did not.
Okay.
Nope.
So that's that mimicry still. That's still that. I mean, I don't want to cut you off, Randy. We
that's
talk
all right.
We talk about this a lot, that the mimicry aspect of these guys is immense, including some documentaries we're on here in the near future talking about what is clearly so owls, and at least here or southern U.S. You've heard owls, listeners at home, you look it up. You can tell between an owl and somebody pretending to be an owl.
Yeah.
And these guys are way, way out in the middle of the boonies, and they're having several people around them. They weren't people. They were, Sasquatch, pretending to be owls. Whether they're using it for communication or whatever. But no, keep going, Randy. I'm sorry. That stuck out to me.
Okay. Where were we at?
I'll
just tell you some things here.
You just keep going.
When SRA was going to camp here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not in order now. I'll just tell you things that have happened here. When the SRA was going to camp here, 2 guys were going to camp on the southeast corner of 40 acres square is a quarter mile by quarter mile by quarter mile by quarter mile. And the next 40 acres south is my daughter's father-in-law. That 40 acres to the north is my daughter and their land. They bought my mom and dad's place when they were getting sickly, So they were going to camp here. 2 guys, I put them in the southeast corner, 2 guys in the northeast corner, and 2 guys camped in the middle. But that week, they weren't going to hear it on Friday. That week, I would go back in the woods, do my gifting, and I'd say, hey, you guys, I got some friends coming here, but I want you to scare the hell out of them. Really give them some action. But they're good guys. Don't hurt them or nothing like that, which they wouldn't, but scare them good. So I said that every day. So when they got here Friday night about 2 a.m, on the southeast corner, the guy and his son, something was walking around their tent and slapping it like this, and they kept doing it. But they were so scared, they wouldn't get out and look. And what's the purpose of doing this if you don't get out and look?
Right. I mean, I don't blame them.
I don't blame them either, but they wouldn't get out and look.
I mean, so something I wanted to say earlier that I just forgot about is that, you've alluded to it already. If these things wanted to hurt you, they would. Like the one I seen and the one many people we've had on the show have seen. After it's scary during for a lot of people, including myself. It was terrifying. It was one of the probably most actually frightening things I've ever had. But looking back on it, I do not believe I was in any real danger. I do not believe, because if it wanted me, it would have got me.
Yeah, you were right.
Exactly right, because they can be right by you and you don't see them. And I got stuff about that too. But anyways, I'm in the morning at 7 a.m. Well, anyways, that night, the guys in the northeast corner, they had a camp table. They had a cooler with latches on it that you had to turn, and the lid would come off. And they had a bunch of food in there. The one guy and the other guy got up at 7. The one guy said to the other guy, "Did you already have your breakfast?" The other guy said, "No, I thought you did." About 2 or 3 in the morning, something rubbaged through their stuff. They just thought they were going to get up early. Went through all their stuff, took the lid off, unlatched it, and set it on the camp table, and went through all their stuff. Now, we went to the woods on the state land. I had the 3 guys with me, and the 2 guys, the guy and the kid, was by themselves. I had my door to my house locked. And I'm 100 feet away from them. We got these ravens following us. Ravens have something to do with Sasquatch too. I think I don't know, maybe watchers. That's opinion. But these ravens were following us. But we don't realize that the guy and his kid were sensing something by them. And I told the other guy, I said, "Listen here, I can sound like a raven." So I do my little raven call, which is not that good. And there was a Sasquatch by him, and it got up and walked off. And they seen it really good. It was like 15 yards from him. So, yeah, here's another thing. We start walking back. We get along the river. We come across a fresh deer kill. It was blood sprayed all over. Nothing else. So assuming it's a deer. But here's what's weird about it. I'm good at tracking deer If I'll follow the blood, and if it gets down to a little spot like that, I'll put a piece of toilet paper by it so I can come back to it. All of a sudden it quit, but it would be on the right side, like it's carrying the deer. Then it would be on the left side. Then it would be on the right side. And that's a little bit weird there.
Mm-hmm.
So then we couldn't find it no more. There was no more blood. It just gone. And we never seen no drag marks, and nothing was dragging that. So it wasn't no bear. I don't know if a cougar could put it in its mouth and walk with it, and it would be on one side, then the other side.
Right, shift it. Yeah.
I mean, in my opinion, no. I mean, unless it's a
Talented cougar.
900-pound cougar. I mean, it's a cougar the size of a Siberian tiger. I mean, could it be a Siberian tiger?
Yeah. But anyways, when I got home, my house was locked. Well, they got me too. When you buy a block of butter, a pound of butter, it comes in the 4 sticks.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? When I come in the house, unlocked to come in the house, they took a stick of butter out of the refrigerator, out of the box, unwrapped it, and there was a stick of butter on my refrigerator door.
Just plopped onto it.
Yeah. The paper was on the floor, and there was a stick of butter on my refrigerator door. All that happened.
After all this stuff, and you just, is that a stick of butter on my refrigerator?
Yeah. And then they also stole my billfold. Something took my billfold.
Oh, that's not as funny. That's more serious.
I mean, the guys were with me. There was nobody here.
Right.
And the house was locked.
Did you ever find it?
Never have gotten it yet. I've asked for it back. Never have gotten it. No.
Have you ever heard of the Browns property?
No.
All right, so it's a super famous, and we've not met them in person, but we've met many people that have worked with them personally.
Mm-hmm.
From all accounts, they're an extremely lovely couple, and they've had many, many metaphysical Sasquatch encounters, like you're describing, with the physical aspects.
Mm-hmm.
So her favorite, with your wallet made me think of this, the chicken story. Her favorite chicken, she had one, a bunch of chickens, but she had one rooster that was like a pet, right? So, and you couldn't get into it. The fence wasn't ripped up, and she came out and he was missing, and she knew that specifically the one big male Sasquatch had taken it, and she goes to the woods like you do, was talking to the woods and just being like, hey, he's a pet, he's not food. It's really hurt my feelings. You guys took him, and just asking for him back.
Mm-hmm.
It'd mean the world for me to have him back. I don't want to end anything we're doing here, but he's a pet, not food. And I think it was like 3 or 4 days later, and then she gave up. She's like, well, they ate him. They ate my pet chicken. There's 50 chickens in that coop. They could have taken any of them, and they took that one. And I think it was like 3 or 4 days later. And she comes out, and he's just sitting there in the middle of the trail, or we're in the middle of the coop. Looks like he was placed there. And she said he was healthy and fat and just happy. Wow. So that same trickster kind of element you're talking about with the wallet and the butter and all that.
Well, there's a lot more.
Keep going.
Yeah, I'm going to keep going here. I'm going to tell you a bunch of them. Okay, we got a riding lawnmower. Our yard is real big, like my daughter's. And it's a 425 John Deere. After all this happened, I had to look it up what it weighs. It weighs with the deck about 1,000 pounds. The back wheels turn too, but it's a steering wheel.
Okay.
I got done mowing that day. We're almost done mowing. I parked it up on the flat by the dog kennel. Only way to push that thing, because it got power steering and all that, you got to pull the lever underneath the seat because it's hydrostatic transmission. I go in, and it's facing east now. I go in and eat something, not even 20 minutes, a little sandwich thing I made up. I go outside, guess what? It was facing north and south about 75 yards away within a 20-minute span. How'd that happen?
75 yards away, too.
It wasn't on no hill. And if it was on a hill, it wouldn't turn itself to be north and south.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. They've been in my house before besides the butter thing and peed on stuff.
Yeah, I wanted to ask about that.
They peed on stuff?
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God. Okay. My one granddaughter, she's 18 now, but 2 years ago, she was 16, and she made it 7th in the world in the rodeo thing, calf roping or breakaway calf roping and poles.
Has she been to Ohio for the contest?
No, the last thing it was in here on South Dakota when she made 7th in the world.
They have a big one in Wooster we used to go to. But that's awesome. Congratulations
Well,
to her.
they could do it because her dad's a dentist in town there, so they got the money to spend.
Well, congratulations to her on both.
Yeah.
They just built a horse arena, a heated horse arena. It's 120 by 68. Even the riding part is all heated.
No.
That's a lot of heat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is
But
he looking to
anyway.
adopt a 30-year-old man?
The house is locked. We don't have no animals or nothing like that. I go to the rodeo. I got the 11-year-old with me and the 6-year-old, Bristol and Madison. We go to the rodeo. It rained really bad that day. So daughter Rachel asked me if I could take their big truck and the big trailer and leave my pickup with her and come back the next morning with 25 bales of hay. I said, yes. So I get home about 10:30 or so. I had just bought a new computer for my sound company because the other one got ruined. The house is locked. I get up there and said, oh my God, my house is locked. I only have one key and Rachel's got it. And it's on my pickup. Kind of dumb to only have one house key. So I find a crowbar and I kind of kicked the door in and Jimmy and I got in. I kind of ruined the door jamb a little bit, but I got in. The house is dark. I get the kids in the living room there. I turn the light on. I put my computer on the table and my hands get wet. I said, what the heck? I turned the dining room light on. Something came in the house, opened the freezer up, took an ice cream bar out, and, well, I won't move it. Put the ice cream bar on one side of the table, opened it up and melted, but the stick was on the total other table. In fact, the table I'm sitting at. Now, if I would have taken an ice cream bar out at 6 a.m, if I'd have opened it up, I would have ate it. If I didn't eat it, the ice cream, the stick, I would be able to see that it slid across, and that's how the table is level. But the stick was on the other side. And I think, what the heck? So I cleaned that mess up. And I'm not going to eat an ice cream bar at 6 a.m. and not give the girls one. They're going to want one too.
Right. Can't get away with that.
Yeah. I get them to bed. They're sleeping in the living room on some air mattresses. I go into my bedroom, turn my light on, and get ready to grab the covers, and my hands get wet again. Oh my God. Something pissed in the bed all the way down to the box spring. Mattress, everything.
Oh.
The mattress, everything. It was the most sourest pee I've ever smelled. It was terrible. I couldn't sleep in the bed that night. Had to bring the bedspread and the sheets and the blanket and all that stuff downstairs and wash them. I slept on the couch. Okay. The next week, we do got our dog here. What happens when a female dog goes to the bathroom? It squats down, correct?
Mm-hmm.
We got a hamper by the bed, and it's you can take the top off and throw the clothes down to the basement. So it's not really a hamper.
Like a
It's
laundry
about
chute.
3.5 feet tall. And we got Annie, and on our bedroom door, it's got little glass panes, like that. I don't know. Can you see that?
Yeah.
No, you can't. Well, here.
No, we
You can't see. It's got little glass panes, 3 across, like a
Okay.
French door.
Okay.
Okay. I always lock my bedroom door because it's just weird here when I'm by myself. It doesn't feel comfortable. So I just do that. Even now I do it. And so, and the little curtain shades like this right here, it doesn't go all the way down. So there's 3 glass panes you can see. About 4 a.m, I get woke up. The dog, the golden retriever, is barking really, really bad and growling deep. I never heard her growl so bad, looking out into the living room. But the door handle's going back and forth, click, 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 click. But I'm froze. I can't move. Not that I'm scared. I can't move.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm awake. I can hear it quick. I must have dozed off to sleep after that because I never did get up.
Oh.
Next morning, I grabbed my clothes that's on that hamper thing because they weren't dirty. I just threw them up there. They were pissed on again. The same smell, totally bad. I couldn't wear them.
So
Totally soaked.
why are they doing that?
I don't give theories too much.
Right.
but I do have a
I know.
theory.
I'm sorry.
Oh no, you can ask me, and I'll tell you my theory.
Okay.
Okay, yeah. Why they're doing it is, I'm in the woods so much all the time. Because I'm peeing out in the woods when I gotta go. I go.
Oh.
I think maybe I was going to the bathroom on something I wasn't supposed to go on because I'd be back by those teepees and stuff. I think they were getting me back. It hasn't happened since. I asked them to stop doing it.
I mean,
Hasn't happened since.
that makes sense. I mean, you don't, like you said, they're metaphysical and they're like you're literally talking to trees back there.
Yep.
And I got theories we'll talk about later, but you could be like you said, peeing on their stuff.
Yeah, nothing else would make sense. That's just a theory, but nothing that makes sense. Nothing else.
Because I'm like, if you have that good a relationship with them, why are they coming into your home
and sullying your clothes in your bed?
I mean, that's a pretty aggressive thing.
Yeah.
So like you said, you're looking at maybe you did, you done did peed on something they owned.
I hope they thought of it in those verbiage.
They listen to me. They do things I asked for back in the woods, little things. I'll say, hey, can you guys block one of my trails where I got to either crawl underneath it or go around it? The next to go back there and my trail is blocked. I got to go underneath it or go around it. So they did it this year, a really good one. And as I'm going around it, I find one of the broken sticks. And I'm looking at it and there's a hair on it, a good 15, 16 inches long, white. I take a picture of that and I say, I'm not taking it. And I send it to Doug Hychek. And he said, well, Randy, we know what that is. And I said, yeah, Sasquatch. He said, yeah. He said, did you get it? I said, no, I never took it. The next morning, I thought, well, maybe I should go get that hair. And I go back there and it's gone. But then that eraser board that I have back there, they stepped on it and broke it all up. Frame was broke. The whole thing is all broke up. And it was broke up for about a week. And I just left it there with the little marbles on it. I didn't do nothing with it. Then finally, I decided, you know what? I'm going to clean that up. It looks like a mess. I brought it back to the tree. I usually had it laying on the ground, put the frame back around it. And guess what? I found another hair about that long, white. I picked it up and said, you guys, I got your hair. Here it is. But I'm not taking it. On one of the nails where I put the peanut butter in, I wrapped it around a little bit, tied it in a knot, and let it dangle down. I said, here's your hair. Come get it. The next day I go back there to do what I do, and the hair is gone. Now, this summer there, I said, why don't you block the trail where I do my four-wheeler at, or the side-by-side? And they did. You know what they did? They got a small sapling about that big around. They put one facing east, one facing west, one facing east, one facing west, and they put an X in the pine tree. And it's still there. I never did move the stuff. I just don't go, oh, my voice is hoarse. I just don't go by that way. I just look at it and show people it.
Take a different route now.
Deliberate. That's
right.
Deliberate.
Absolutely.
Now, what else can I tell you? I bought this camper, and it was in my daughter's father-in-law's place in his shop, in an old thing. Got 4 bunks in it, a little kitchen table. And I bought it when I'm doing an outdoor festival, 2 or 3 days. I need to be by the stage, not go to a motel around 5 miles away, because I need to watch the stage overnight. I have to be there.
Right. You got to guard it.
Right. I got to guard it. Maybe a storm comes up and whatever. But we still get a room where Samantha, Terry's daughter, works for me, where she can go with one of the trucks, take a shower and all that. And so I bring it to the house. It's facing south up by the woods line in our yard. I'm going to clean it up because I've been sitting a couple of years in that shop. So I got the door wide open. I'm going to go get some 409, some Windex, and some paper towel and all that. And I come back and the door is shut. It don't shut by itself and it's locked. Only way to lock it is push the button in and turn it. Well, that don't happen by itself. And of course, I don't have a key. Another thing, I got to pry that door open. I get it pried open. It's open again. I go get the shop vac then. I put the paper towel on the table. And I'm down right by the door with the shop vac, and I start vacuuming. And I see a Sasquatch walk by me. I see its feet and his leg and his torso and his upper body. I look up right away, and it's gone. So I do that cleaning and all that stuff. No more incidences. The next week, Samantha, she has seen Sasquatch cross the highway in front of her going into our place. So she will not walk the woods with me anymore. She will not do it, and she used to. For people like Samantha or Terry, my wife, has seen them too. Once you see them, you realize them things are real. And some people get scared, and those two are. They're scared to go in the woods with me. But anyway, Samantha did not want the door facing south by the woods. She wanted it facing down by our garage. So I move in and get it right. And Terry comes out and I say to her, I got the door facing right. Terry says, no, she don't want it facing that way. I said, yes, she does. We're not really arguing, but we're discussing it. I said, yes, she does want it facing that way. She don't want it by the woods. I go to Rachel's house right across the river and get the big tractor and gonna mow her pasture. She wanted her horse pasture mowed. I come back and Terry says, man, something happened. There was a loud bang and the dog, Annie, pulled her right back into the house right away, was scared. And Tanner, Terry's son that lives with us, he's got a little bit of disability, but if you met him, you couldn't tell. And he lives with us. And they heard it in the house too, with the door shut. So they're telling me about it. And I'm looking around at our garage and stuff where they've left the white finger streaks on our garage before. And I don't see nothing. I happen to go by the camper and there's a dent into that big right by the door. Wham. That's what they heard. Now, did I send you a picture of that?
Yes.
Okay. That's what them Sasquatch did. They did that. There was never no dent there. So a couple of days later now, Samantha and the two girls are going to stay in the camper. And what happens when you take a camper off the block of back of a pickup? You take it off, you put it on a block, you crank it down so it's level and it's on a solid block, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Right. That's what I do. That's what I always do. So about 2 a.m, I'm even surprised that they came running in the house. They come and running in the house, waking us up, but scared as heck. Say something was hitting the back of the camper and going like this, shaking it back and forth. I knew I wasn't going to see nothing, but I go out there and look. I don't see nothing. The next morning, I go out there, and there's knuckle marks all in the back of the camper that weren't there before. And they shook it so hard like this here, they took it off the block. The jack was down into the gravel. Here's what I said. I said, okay, you guys, I like what you're doing. Keep coming to the house, hit the house, move things around, have fun. But quit hitting the camper. You're putting dents in it and you're scaring the girls. Ever since then, nothing has happened to that camper. Nothing at all. See, they listen to me. It's the juveniles that are messing around. That's what's happening here. What else can I? Okay.
Hey guys, thank you for listening to Cryptids the Corn podcast. Remember, the best way to support the show is share it with a friend. But if you are craving more of the J clones
and more from Mr. E,
there's always extra content on Patreon
and our paid member space on cryptidsofthecorn.com.
We'll catch you next time with more exciting, fun, and informative information. Bye.